Are live. We are rocking and rolling. Good evening, everybody. This is Nolen Davis. We are live on Facebook right now. For those that usually come on our meetings, want you to realize that I was doing some invite-only situations and was loving, doing that just for the members. From that standpoint. But we really have something bigger than that's going on right now. I feel as if right now we're in our cocoon stage. A lot of people are isolating themselves. Social distancing is what it's called. This coronavirus is really doing a lot to people. It's invoking fear. People are staying at home, not making money. People are afraid to do things. And I believe the fear is pretty much more of the unknown, right? So like a lot of people don't necessarily know what's going to happen or what's happening right now. So with that being said, I feel as if we're in a place where we need somebody like the great doctor that's right here, Dr. Sunita. So, Dr. Sunita, you was on my show, Step Up Radio, on Tuesdays, doing Transformational Tuesdays, and tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we can really kind of go ahead and get started and talk about what we're going to do for the people for the next 30 days. That's a big commitment now. The next 30 days, like let's get it. So tell people about yourself.
Yeah, and then you're right, Nolan, that's a commitment, but I wouldn't do it with anybody else because I know that if I'm part of what you're doing, we're going to help a lot of people. But I'm a neurotherapist, master's degree in counseling, and then did a PhD, still doing a correlational study with Chicago. But my background is neuropsychology. And what I do is brain training. So I hope to use some of what I know so we can direct our brains better, especially at this time.
Okay, all right. So you know what? I want to get kind of right into it. I was literally giving a lot of people some great information when it came to this whole coronavirus situation. Really had my ear to the ground, really just wasn't looking at just what the news was putting out, but also watching what people are doing, right? And if you watch what people are doing, everybody's trying to compare this to the flu, but it's really a situation that this is totally different than the flu. I've never before have I seen the administration expect to have hospitals overloaded for the flu in this type of situation. And with it being a lot of unknowns and everybody's, the National Guard are in some places, which I told a lot of people that would happen. That happened today, right? So they're starting that whole situation. Talk to me about fear and what fear literally does to people in these types of situations, because I want to go into how we can control and use that fear to our advantage.
Right. So one of the first things is fear does weaken the entire body. It weakens the immune system, which is really important that we make sure we stay healthy right now. And fear, what it does is it allocates bodily resources, which is brain function, the adrenal system, your circulatory system, to a fight or flight. So what happens is you have limited resources when you allow fear to take you over. And this is the last time, and we definitely need to stay with resources. We need to be able to make good decisions. So fear basically paralyzes everything that is not survival based. So if you think about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, you're going to find that when those are on alert, the fear takes over and it's on automatic. It's almost like a drug. you're almost in a state of hypnosis.
Mm.
So, and you can see it in animals where their eyes get real fixed, and their resources, their body functions are being allocated for survival. Now, that's important during this time when any creature on this planet is being attacked. One of the things that happens is that it goes into a automatic process. And that's good. The bad thing, if you're making decisions right now only on survival, that's what you're going to get. Because we know, Nolan, you and I have talked about this, this may be an opportunity to really transform your business. This may be an opportunity to transform your personal life, your thinking. And if we're only locked into fear, and that's what's running our machinery, our brain, then we're going to make decisions that are small, contrite, survival based. My own son felt a little cough, right? Fear right away. He's like, oh my God, I've got the symptoms, and he doesn't. It's a blessing, but he's actually just got strep throat. What a good thing, right?
Absolutely.
He's got strep throat. And when was it when we'd say, oh, good, it's strep throat?
I was going to say, thank God it's only strep throat. When does that happen? Right?
Right.
Okay.
But so first thing he does is he's like, I'm contaminated, right? And so then he starts making decisions on that. And he starts saying things like, he calls his work and he says, I've got the symptoms. And they're like, what? And so then I had to, make sure he had a doctor's note, and we got a release. The doctor said it was just strep throat. But, look at the catapulting effect of all of that. Now, everybody, over there was like, whoa. And so there was a little panic of it. So I had to make sure, kept calling and saying, it's okay. And I had to personally go meet with his supervisor just to help them feel better. But look at what happens. Yet we're looking at the grocery store, right? And I'll tell you, just like I'm human, right? So I go into the grocery store, and if I'm fear-based, I didn't buy the good stuff. Like, I didn't buy the stuff that I loved when I first went grocery shopping, right? I have to admit, at first I was like, okay, what's going to last me long? What's economical? So I have a bunch of groceries now, Nolan, that I don't really like eating. But see,
Okay.
those are small examples of fear-based decisions. We're not going to expand our businesses. We're not going to look for the opportunities. Nolan, if I never showed you the color red, okay?
Right.
You never see red. And so I take you into a room, and there's red everywhere. And I'm asking you, Nolan, all you need is find one red thing, and you're going to make it like it's going to be amazing. You won't see it. So when we're fear-based, we don't recognize opportunity. We will not recognize anything but survival. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And that's exactly the reason that we're doing this whole series. So this series is literally going to be 30 days. And it's not all going to be about fear, but we wanted to start with fear. And this is handling fear during a pandemic, right? And so as we're talking about that, how do we change that fear or these times into strength and opportunity, right? And
Right.
that's exactly with your background of science, right? Of science and spirituality. I believe you have the best combination of both worlds, and you even infuse technology in that as well. And we're going to talk about that probably much later. So as we talk about the fear situation, there's one of the checkpoints that we have on the flyer is certainty and control. So explain that to me.
Right. So right now, if you look at Maslow's hierarchy, one of the basic human needs, right, is a need for control and certainty. So the way Maslow explained it is that if you and I are sitting in a room and we think the roof is going to cave in or the floor is going to give out, we are not going to have fruitful conversations because we've got to make sure we have stability control. Well, a lot of people live from that, especially right now. It's a basic human need. So what I'm asking is, I'm pleading to people, don't look for certainty, look for clarity, and that's going to allow control. So let me explain the difference, and it's a very small distinction. When you look for clarity versus control or certainty, certainty's out there. I'm waiting for someone to provide me certainty. So I might be looking at the news, and I have to apologize, I don't know how to turn that notice off. But anyway, I'm looking at the news, and that's what people are looking for. They are glued to their TVs looking for certainty. And it's not in control. It's not in your control. Now, clarity is in our control. So then it's a whole different search. And if you think about the brain, the way the brain works, and like this is my specialty is, as a brain coach, I understand the brain is looking for, it's a honing device, right?
Right.
The reticular activating system, it's a honing device. So it's looking for, tell me something to make me feel better. And what you have is you're at the discretion, you're at the control of someone else. You're waiting for someone to give you some news. When you're looking for clarity, there's a whole different motivation. The foundation for a clarity search is empowering. And what it does is it takes back the locus of control. See, and that's what we're looking for anyway. What we're really looking for is a feeling of control, not necessarily certainty. So when you look for clarity and you're looking for, okay, what is logical? What is a credentialed resource? Today, I'm worried a little bit because I keep getting text messages saying, claim your $1,000. Okay, I know that there's some people that are going to press on that and be victims. And I want people, if you're getting things like that, look for clarity. There was a bunch of questions came to me the last few days. I've been honored to be able to answer phone calls and answer questions. And they're looking for this news or that news or this pill or that pill that they could take. Some people are ingesting certain forms of bleach. One person told me that if you swish your mouth out and swallow, the acid in your stomach will kill the virus. So and some good people are acting on this. So look for clarity. Make sure that your resources are credentialed. And one of the things, Nolen, you're going directly to source when you get information, and that's going to be the key.
So, absolutely. But so the problem is that there is not a lot of certainty in the messages that are being delivered, right?
Right.
So for the people that are looking for certainty, how do you turn that off and only look for clarity? And if you're looking for clarity, then what is really clear? If you don't have all the information, what are you clear on? Explain that to me.
Clear is like what really matters to you. You'll find that if you're looking for clarity, what matters to you will be noticed by your brain. Okay, clarity, what it does is, as a default, it raises up your values. Okay, so when I search for clarity, when I'm in a clarity foundation inquiry, right? So let's call it an inquiry. As we're looking at our view, and what comes up for me is, okay, what do I need to know about my family? What's going to matter? So I'm looking for that. I'm not blowing in the wind when I'm anchored in my values. And again, looking for clarity anchors you in your values and what matters to you. If you think about the saying, if you don't stand for something, you're going to what?
Fall for anything.
That's right. So clarity has us take a stand, because when we're coming from the foundation of looking for what's clear to us, what rises to the top is what matters to us. And when we start to make decisions on what matters, not only do we really going to have a sense of control, but it's going to calm us down.
So
When
a great way for me in my mind, people. I'm not really a gun type of dude, right? Never
right,
owned a gun. Everybody here in Texas has one. There's a lot of people in Chicago who have one, but everybody here in Texas has one. Old ladies, kids, babies, everybody got a gun in Texas, right? Here's the thing. You're not certain that something is going to happen to you to where you need a gun, but you have clarity that if something does happen, you have a gun and you can control that situation just in case. Is that kind of what you're saying, right from that standpoint? Am I
yes,
understanding it correctly? Because
most definitely. The gun analogy is good. Yeah, and the truth is, unless you're God, what do you really know with total certainty? So
exactly.
if anybody tells me they know something with total certainty, then we need to have a different conversation, okay? Because we could stand outside and an airplane fall on us. I mean, you just don't know.
Right.
So when you're trying to look for certainty, it is an endless chase, and it's going to be futile, and you're actually left more vulnerable and left more frustrated. So when you're listening to the news and when you're looking for information, the foundation is clarity. What is it that you are searching for? Don't get inundated with news, because not all of it really matters to you. Okay, because there's a lot of stuff coming at us right now. And Nolen, we've got to program the brain. It's very important that we program the brain to spend time on what matters. Because again, if you're blowing in the wind with all of the data that's going to get out there, you're going to make wind-like decisions. 1 minute you're here, 1 minute you're there, right? 1 minute you got to close your business. It's done. That's what I got to do. The next minute, no, maybe, no, I got to. So what are your values? One of the things I did is I called all my clients one by one. Because what I wanted was, I looked for clarity as I made a decision on what we were going to do with our office. And we do live neurofeedback. People have to come in. And what I did is I said, okay, what I need is clarity. The search for clarity forced me to think about calling. I just called every single client today, and I've been on the phone, and because my values came into play, I want them to know they're not alone. I want them to know that it's going to be okay. I want them to know there's alternatives to coming into the office. We have mobile technology. So in that desire for clarity, my values, and I took action. And then this with you, right? I realized in the search for clarity, what really matters to me. It's about service. And I know every time, and we've talked about this, you and I both agree, when you and I be in service, when we lose ourselves in service, we find magic.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
find answers. And I think, this is going to reinvent me, because I was talking about doing things with you on a regular basis. And well, here it is, right?
Right.
And in
Right.
the search for clarity, my values became, I got to get a message out. I know that when I am serving other people, I'm at my best.
Right.
So even in self-care, I know myself, right? And clarity also forces some self-awareness. It's really important that we be aware right now of our tendencies, right? So we don't get mentally hijacked. And we're going to talk about rational and irrational thinking another day, but it's really important that you know what your irrational thoughts look like. So when they're in play, you could go, oh, there it goes.
Right.
That's me being irrational.
Right. So when you talk about rational and irrational, one of the things that we talk about as far as clarity before we move forward is clarity based on facts. I feel as if we have we're very limited in the factual statements that come before us a lot of times, right?
Yes.
The media is trying to put their spin on it. You have everything that you see on social media, so people want you to feel some type of way. There's a with them in it or what's in it for them type of situation of if we can get so many people amped up or the anxiety or the anger or the hate, whatever it is, facts is hard to come by these days, and facts are not even really revered like they used to be, right? So when you talk about clarity with facts, and just so you know, I see a lot of people out there that's watching right now. Hey, want to let you know, guys, share this out. We're going to be here every day at 5:30. Kind of changed up a little bit. I wanted to make sure we had some people on it. But these conversations are really going to help as we go through what we're going through right now. So as we talk about clarity with facts, how do we do that if facts seems like, one, they're not revered like they used to be, and two, they seem like they're hard to come by?
So with one of the things that I know about the brain is questioning a thought, right? And before you accept it as fact. So let's back away for a minute and let's define a fact. How would you define a fact?
Truth. A fact is the truth.
Right? How would you define the truth?
The truth is actually something that has happened or has been verified to a certain degree.
Right. And that's what we want to be careful with, right? Is the definition of truth. And so one of the ways that we measure truth is agreement, verified, right? And right now, the human mind, people are tending to agree. Because remember, the brain is wired to panic. That's our default,
Right.
is panic, okay? So when we look at for the truth, there's tests of truth, and we should maybe make this a whole section. What is the truth, and what do we, as in philosophy or the science of ontology? Ontology is the science. How do we know something's a fact? Now, the scientific method, right, would say that it's testable. You can prove it, right? You have a hypothesis and then you can prove it.
Right.
So what I'm saying is right now, we have to be really careful what we define as the truth, because the way we can prove it is agreement. And agreement right now is not necessarily the truth, right? It's not necessarily healthy. There's a lot of agreement right now about a lot of different things. So I think this whole subject of what is the fact goes back to values, believe it or not.
Okay.
The reason it does is because there's so one person, it's a fact that something is green. And you can say, no, it looks a little blue. And to you, it looks blue. Facts are negotiable, right? So, and right now, some people may think that's crazy, Sunita. So do your due diligence. And I'm telling you, look at the resources. Now, if Nolen, you and I can come to agreement that it's a fact how this virus acts, right? Well, where did we get that? Well, we got it from this source, this source, this source, and there's agreement. See, now we're back to agreement, and that's a slippery slope. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that if you say something's a fact, that the resources are aligned with your values, right? Some people do not believe certain TV stations are giving facts. Other people say it's on CNN, it's a fact. And I've got other people say, well, maybe, no, you got to go to SNBC or, so doesn't it come back down to values? Do you see?
Right. That puts a great spin to understand how people are moving these days, because it used to be, it's the same as statistics, right?
Right.
So I've been dibbling and dabbling a little bit in Six Sigma and things like that. So, you can look at the same statistics a couple of different ways.
Yep.
And change it to your narrative. And almost, just not to get super spiritual, but almost like the Bible. You have a
Right.
whole bunch of scriptures to where they're saying, no, this is what they meant. And there's a bunch of people that believe that, and then they'll take the same scripture and say, no, this is what they meant, right?
And
Because
people will fight.
exactly.
Countries will war over
Yes.
that, right? And it's so here's let's go back to what is the truth. And then we look at integrity. Integrity is looking at what is reliable, because integrity of this candle right here is how reliable can I count on it, the strength of this candle, right? So integrity is a relationship to your word, or to the word that someone else is saying. So you want to look for resources that have integrity, that you can rely on it. And then you start to make decisions about facts. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So if I show you this chair, or the integrity of this table. So the integrity of this table is how much I can depend on it, lean on it, and the legs are a little wobbly, right? You saw the camera move. So
Right.
This table doesn't have a lot of integrity. So you want to look, as you're searching for facts, think about integrity and not the morality thing, okay? Take integrity out of morality and look for the Webster's definition of integrity, like a wheel on a bicycle. If a spoke is broken, the wheel is out of integrity. You cannot count on that wheel because the spoke of the wheel is broken, right?
Right.
So then you want to look for what has integrity for you and look for your facts there. So back to values, because integrity is about your values too. So for me, you say something, and I know Nolen Davis as to have integrity. I know that I can count on his word. And so there's value to what you say. I know that I can count on something that's coming from the Center for Disease Control. Okay. They've been named as the authority on this, and right. But again, we could debate. You could tell me, oh no, Sunita, no, it's Dr. Rogers, he's got, or Mr. Rogers, he's got the final word. So it comes down to what has integrity for you, and listen then for the facts that are relevant to the values that you have, and make decisions. So all of this wrapped up, Nolen, in one basic thing. Be mindful. Be mindful. And what that means is you stand and you inspect, right? Mindful. Now, what's powerful when you're mindful and you inspect something, it creates a space. And that's what we need. We need a little space before we get mentally hijacked and say, that's the fact. Be mindful of it. Look at it. Wow. Okay. That's what Nolen said. Nolen said it's going to rain. Okay. Now we're looking at it and we're reflecting. And then we say, okay, I'm going to keep that one. And there's a method that we're going to cover on how to question things, Socratic method, just like the legal system. I want you to put your beliefs and what you call fact on the stand. And you are going to be judge and jury to things right now. And that's how we're going to stay calm. The minute, though, you start to inspect it, it loses power over you. Now you can use that fact and not be used by it.
So from the art of questioning and examining what has been presented to you, you now literally take control of the situation, and you can literally figure out the integrity of the situation from that inspection, and then you can make your decision from there. So that way you don't, if everything that you give me, if I don't have to blindly listen to everything that you give me and say, this is the fact, I can say, okay, there is integrity there. There's been a history of integrity there, of good information, but let me look at all the other information that I have and figure out exactly where I want to kind of categorize this as it being 100%. Kind of like, a lot of people did that to me. I sent out a text message, um, and it was a situation of, when I did that, I was trying to get some people to get information so they could safeguard themselves. And it was
Right.
about the National Guard coming out. And so, I looked at the text message. By the time I finished sending it and everybody was coming back, it was martial law. I didn't say that. I just said that National Guard was going to be deployed because I know some of the people that's kicking the orders to the National Guard saying we need this many troops, right? And so now the National Guard is down on certain sites. I said it would be on Monday, but it's not a situation of martial law and they're in the street, but they are helping with this initiative right now. So totally get what you're saying from a standpoint of how to rate it and, the clarity from a factual standpoint. Now, the other part that you were talking about that we're going to talk about today is the control within the individual. So is that how you literally get that control, by questioning those things?
Completely. And by inspecting what you think is a fact, you begin to make decisions, again, from a perspective of your values, but what you deem as accurate and having integrity. And that allows control. Right now, what we're really craving is a sense of control. Like, okay, I can handle this. And the fastest way to get to it is to begin to inspect what your kids are saying, inspect what you're watching. Periodically, I will turn the TV off and sometimes I'll turn it on. But I am watching what I allow come in. So control for the individual happens when the foundation of our listening is from a search for clarity and based on values. And then again, when you're coming from that motivation, what happens is the information can be used and not use you.
Okay.
Right? So that allows for control. Control happens when I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting for Nolen's information. I'm not waiting for Nolen or anyone else to give me the answer, the news. I am listening for it. I'm listening for what's important to me. And what happens is I align that with, is that a reliable source? Do I know that source to have integrity? All of that allows for the locus of control to be over with me. When the locus of control, it's a huge motivation for us, is to have some locus of control. But we don't realize we're letting the locus of control, and for those of you that are researchers, look up locus of control. It's a very important place for us to be in right now. And then we become more thrivers of this situation rather than survivors of the situation.
Okay. All right. So as we question things to get our control back and to get our clarity, how do we use all of that to become empowered?
Well, and that's it. When you feel control and you feel that you have the control, you get back power. See, I'm not, when, you hear that old saying, right? When I'm pointing out there to fix it, right? There's three fingers coming right back at me. But when I'm like waiting for you fix it. You give me the information and I'm going to listen. When we do that, we do not have, we're not empowered. Mm-hmm. So we're, because now we're waiting. Right. And I'm going to tell you, I've been seeing this all day. People they're calling me, they're calling other resources, and they're asking tell me what to do, and it's not satisfying. So what I'm doing is I'm directing them to the resources that I know have integrity. And I'm asking them to make decisions based on their values and what they believe to have integrity. I can tell them what has integrity, but they've got to feel some control. So when you are searching for facts and then making decisions based on facts, and you know your values, and you are a great example of all of this. When I was talking to you the last couple of days about all of the things that are happening, you had your facts, and you knew, when I told you this resource, you said, no, this is the resource. And you knew what resource had integrity, and you had already decided. And you also made those decisions based on your values, and even your search, because you have children that you love. Your search included things that you needed to know for your family, things you needed to know for a happy home, things you needed to know for other business owners. You were doing it. You were a honing device, okay, because you had done all these things. You had done the due diligence, and you actually stopped, and you did not let the media take you over. You did not let the facts use you. You were using them. And so when I spoke to you, you were totally empowered. How did you do that?
Well, I have people I got to take care of. So at Up Social Network, right? So I feel like in these types of situations, there's a couple of things that happens. One, there's opportunities here to either change and or upgrade our business. So many people want to put their business online, and they never have a chance to do it. Or so many people have so many things that they want to do, like write a book. You now have the time to do it, right? But if we have to stay clear and literally bond together, and we can all learn from each other. So that's how I even started doing this whole thing. So I'm used to networking, and I really, I see the power that each person has, and I want to give them that power on a platform, and that's what we do. So we learn from each other. So I wanted to take care of each and every person within my networking group, and make sure that they had what they needed to have, so we didn't lose any time with the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And I just happen to be connected to a lot of people that really call the shots, so I can get special phone calls and let everybody know what type of information I'm getting. So yeah, so that's the thing. So what do you do for what they call haters, right? Because
I want to highlight, don't go on, because you just, look, you used your values, right? You realized what you really wanted to do, and you saw that you had two choices. And we all have choices right now. We have two major, we can let this become a time where we can say, this happened and I lost it, I missed it, or we can see the opportunity. It's two choices, right?
Right.
We can get wrapped up in the tragedy, or we can say, okay, where's the blessing? And it's so scary because it's so slight. I want to say, it's 3 degrees of separation, and you just shift that. And I'm not even talking about positive thinking, because positive thinking, oh, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, it's going to be, that's not what we're talking about, right? I'm not asking you to be ignorant. I'm asking you to choose what you believe based on your values and the integrity with which you think people are conducting themselves and the information is coming. So I looked at what you just said. You said you want to take care of people. That's a value. And you used resources. So you looked at what has integrity. Now, the interesting thing is you used resources because your motivation, see, you gotta really get, is your motivation fear? Are you motivated to look for information, to make decisions from fear? If you are making decisions from fear, that's why we're spending time on fear. and understanding fear. If you did not make decisions from fear, you are making decisions from a different space.
Being the solution.
Yeah.
When everybody else is upset, I'm trying to be the solution. And that's what, like, the power is us working together, right?
Yeah.
You can't do it by I can't do it by myself. I have
Yeah.
people like you that I can just call and say, hey, let me help my people with the information that you have, knowing your background, knowing everything. But so many people want to have, I believe, a quick answer. They look at the feed on Facebook and they may watch a little bit of the news, and now they create an answer that feels good to them at the time and tries to empower them at the time, right? And so
Right.
my thing is not to scare anybody. My thing is to, what do we need to do to create the solution, and how do we do this together, right?
Right.
So it's not a situation of, I don't want to be the dude with the answer. I'm connected to a lot of people know me. So I'm connected to a lot of people. So I'm usually the dude that has a guy, right? Like, I got a guy. So something happens and you like, dude, my car broke down. Man, don't worry about that. I got a guy. Let me get on the phone.
Yeah.
Man, I got a leaky pipe. Dude, don't worry about that. I got a guy. So
Yeah.
if we all took our superpowers and said, here's a little bit of what everybody can do, and we all learn from each other during these down periods and this down time, as a networking group, we can literally elevate our businesses, as we have people that are looking for opportunities within all the craziness that's going on, and still trying to be safe at the same time. Because the safest thing that we could do right now at this time is literally stay at home, so we can stop the spread of it. Because what's going to happen, and if you really look at what's going to happen is that the hospitals are going to get overran and nobody's going to have a place to go. So you still out there hustling and bustling, and you still shaking hands and doing all of these things, or even just driving around thinking you're making a beeline to this place and a beeline to that place. At some point in time, you got to stop and get gas, and gas stations is giving it to people, right? So if you just stay home and we could just all build together, and thank God we have the technology to do this. How many people are going to watch this and be, saying, hey, here's something that I learned from today. Here's how I can be empowered by taking control, finding out the clarity, looking at the facts, everything that you just went through today. How do I do that? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to, like, literally, I'm trying to get everybody what they need on one platform, and this be the source, and you come and get it. That's it.
Right. Right. That's what it, and Nolan, I mean, you're asking me, and I know a lot of theory and book stuff, but a lot of people like yourself, this should resonate with them. And another thing to do too is to look for role models right now that,
Mm.
and you want to emulate what their calmness. Look to other people, and you're not going to find it, unfortunately, on TV. Um, Look to other people that you want to emulate, and we're creatures of habit, and start to ask them, and then notice how they behave. This is an unusual time. We don't know how to act. This is like taking baby steps. We've never done this before. So one of the other things we can do, real simple, is I want to emulate some people in my life. And I'm surrounding myself with those people, and I'm calling those people. And that is a combination of values and understanding what has integrity for me and who has integrity for me.
Mm.
So who can we emulate? I know one of the people that you always look up to is your dad.
Yes. Big
And,
shout out to my father. Absolutely. Absolutely.
and you talk about, how he's just a source of strength, but you want to model him. And that's awesome. These are the times that we want to go back to that.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So in closing, we will be back tomorrow for those that are watching right now. We'll be back tomorrow. I have Dr. LaShonda Jackson Dean said, just stay at home. Some of these companies are forcing workers to come to work. And I get that. I do totally get it. And that's very unfortunate. But if you got time off, if you can call off, this thing is building up intensity more and more every day. There's more and more cases that's being discovered every day. And I think we're gonna have a huge explosion because we really didn't have the testing to know where we are. And so with that incubation period of 14 days, people are just out there still feeling good, looking good, and they got it full blown and they're passing it around. So I think it's going to be a huge outbreak, not really trying to scare anybody, but just so you know what we need to do. And this whole platform is created so you don't feel like you're out there by yourself. So anything you want to say before you leave everybody, Doc?
We're all in this together. We're all in this together.
All right.
We
Well,
are not alone.
absolutely, absolutely. And we're going to be here every day, Monday through Friday, 5:30 every day. Want to give a big shout out to my team. Big shout out to Justice League. Big shout out to Up Social Network. And big shout out to the doctor herself, Dr. Sunita. You and I, we've been friends for a long time. We talked about doing some things. The replay is going to be here. The replay is also going to be on YouTube at Up Social Live on YouTube. So, man, I look forward to you guys coming tomorrow. We're still going to be talking about fear tomorrow. And just so you guys know, we literally have some different things in place that can help you save on your bills, because a lot of people have no idea how work is going to be, how their business is going to be, but those bills are going to still come in. And I got some new resources that's coming in to literally help you save on the bills that you have right now. So I want to thank Dr. Sunita. I want to thank everybody for literally tuning in. Every day we'll be here at 5:30. Pass this around. I absolutely appreciate you. What you want to say?
Mental strategies. We're going to be covering mental strategies that you can use when you need to get yourself clear.
All right, mental strategies that we're going to use to get yourself clear. That's going to be for tomorrow, Doc.
Yep. We'll talk
All
more
right.
about that.
All right. Until next time, love to live to love, and be well.